Let's also look at how we can enable what we call cloud access gold images on Azure. So we talked about buying through Azure and getting the VMs that way. We talked about taking those machines and kind of moving them to Azure Hybrid Benefit Cloud Access. So that's kind of moving to your own subscription. But if you already have your own subscriptions, rather than deploying from the marketplace and then enabling Hybrid Cloud Benefit, you could just start off with Cloud Access Gold images, right? And that's a little bit more complex, right? So we don't publish those in the marketplace publicly for everyone to find, kind of because people would probably abuse that functionality, right? Yeah, I've got my own Red Hat subscription, so yeah, we hide those away a little bit, but enabling them is definitely possible. So let's talk through how we do that. So the first thing to do is to go to your Azure console, go to your Red Hat console. Sorry, that's Red Hat console. So console.redhat.com. And enter in a subscription to sources. So I know that a lot of folks maybe are probably quite new to the hybrid cloud console. Maybe you're probably more familiar with this. This is the Red Hat customer portal. So this is access.redhat.com. If you go to this one, it's console.redhat.com. So there's some things, I think we're in transition period, some things on the customer portal, some things on the hybrid cloud console. They do very much talk to each other. But what I'm showing you here is in the hybrid cloud console, right? So there's a lot of functionality here, from managing OpenShift clusters to building out AI solutions and message queues and all the rest of it. But what we really want is the cloud sources. So if I just type in here sources in the search box and go here, you'll notice that I can add in my sources for my different cloud providers. So if I just walk you through this, how to do this, we've got the other cloud providers. And the one that we really want here is Azure, of course. I give this a name, so webinar source. And then I've got the innate option to enable this for different functionality. So you can enable this for cost management. So Red Hat's got some tooling that allows you to look at your cloud spend. There's also the rel management as well, so the Red Hat Gold images, and that's kind of what we want here. But also there's the option to enable it for launching images. So we've got a image building service now built into console.redhat.com to build your own custom images. If you're looking for tooling for that, then free as part of every Red Hat subscription is our Red Hat Insights Image Builder. So you can build the image in the Red Hat Cloud and then push it out onto Azure and also push it into other environments out there too. I'll probably quickly show what that looks like before the end of the webinar, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Let's go here to rel management and unlock the Red Hat Gold images or the Cloud Access Gold images. That's what we'd want to do. So if we go through next. Now, this is where we have to jump around a little bit, so bear with me and stay with me. And this is why we're showing it on the webinar, is to show how this is possible. What we're going to do is we're going to run an Ansible playbook on our existing running Azure VM. And that playbook reaches out to the Azure API and says, hey, I'm just going to check that I am actually running in Azure and I have been deployed around the marketplace. It does a few checks and grabs your subscription ID, and then we'll enable that subscription ID on the Red Hat, via the Red Hat API. And you wait a few hours, that then enables the Cloud Access Gold images. So that probably sounds like a lot, but it's not so bad. It's just a bit of clicking around to go through this process. So the first thing you need to do is grab an API token, an offline API token. So you click this link and it will take you through to that customer portal. So remember I said we're kind of jumping around between tabs a little bit here. But if we go generate a token, and you'll see here, I'm going to generate a little API token here. And I'll have to change this before the webinar recording goes out. Otherwise everyone's going to get my Azure account. But you want to copy that, like you would do an Azure subscription ID, or your kind of tenant secret or that sort of thing. Stick it in Notepad, save it or save it somewhere more securely, I should say, and have that token available, right? So we'll need that a little bit later on in the process. So cool, I've got that one, great. So I click next, and then it says run the Ansible playbook. Okay, so we go grab this, copy this command, and jump back into our Azure VM. Now I know that this is probably going to say Ansible's not installed. We can go install that. Oh, actually, no, I think I installed it earlier, so that's pretty useful. So it's going to go here and install that collection if it's not already so it's probably going to check that the collection is up to date and get that running. So now we have to make a bit of awkward silence. Carl, I think you're going to say something there. Over to you.
I was just going to say, James, that Ansible playbooks are a great way to run these configurations. There are so many different ways that I've seen customers deploy, manage their Linux machines in Azure. And you can do it from native tooling as well in Azure. Then there's other tooling to do it, but also in terms of doing new machines are installed, you want to run some post configuration, you've got some Ansible playbooks to do that. It's really a great tool for doing that. And it's something that we commonly see customers using. And these are playbooks that people will have developed over many years on premise across different operations that they've got. And then those playbooks can simply be taken as well to these virtual machines and run these scripts in sequence.
Definitely. And we see like a whole bunch of customers using Ansible and Azure, right? For automating many things, not just the deployment of VMs, but even the deployment of Azure resources as well. So one link I just thrown up here is and worth pointing out is that Microsoft publishes its own Azure collection. So, its own Ansible collection for Azure. So built and maintained by Microsoft. You see, Microsoft here is the author. There's modules in here for everything, right? For changing AD passwords through to managing parts of API gateways and many things and Azure services that I've never heard of for sure. Looking down this list, right? There's
probably me too, James.
There's too much, isn't there? Too much to remember. But there's a Ansible module for everything nowadays. So worth looking into. And then see, look, with a little bit of stalling there, we've got our collection installed. I think it wasn't already installed, but it was just checking. Was it updated there? I think it was installed successfully. That's all good. So that was the first step in our process, right? If we go down here and run this playbook, you scroll this across a little bit. It's going to ask me for my offline API token, right, and my OAuth token. So that's the bit that you're going to replace with a token that you grabbed from here, and you'll run that command on the machine. Now, because I have run that one before, let's just check. What was it? It was Ansible playbook. I think it's because I run it as root probably. Yes, there we go. So now this is not going to succeed because I've just refreshed my API token, right? So this is going to bomb out with an error. But if I hadn't just clicked that button to join it and use a new API token, this would run successfully. But again, all this is doing is checking what cloud environment I'm really running on. Oh, it succeeded. That's always nice. It checked what cloud environment I'm running on. So if we go up here, we go look at our history. So you see it's checking for that other cloud and didn't find it, surprisingly enough. It did find the Azure Asset Tag is what we're actually looking for on the machine. So say, okay, yep, we found the Azure Asset Tag using the Azure Metadata API. Also, again, it checks for the other cloud providers there too. But then what it's done is it's taken that tag, taken that VM ID, and said, yep, we're definitely a Red Hat machine. We're definitely running in Azure. And that kicks off a process in the background. Now, this is only necessary once per subscription. Of course, you can automate this and do this over multiple subscriptions at the same time. But the result of this process that took me effectively about 5 minutes is that when you go back into your marketplace, you should find that you then have the private plans available, the private images. So in particular, the one that you really care about here is the Red Hat Enterprise Linux Bring Your Own subscription. So deploying from this allows you to have a Red Hat machine, fully certified, fully supported by Red Hat, with all the updates working exactly as they would do and all that sort of thing, but without the Red Hat subscription assigned to the Azure billing, right? So Azure will then bill you for the compute, network, and storage for the VM as you would do normally, but then doesn't have the Red Hat subscription. So with these images, you would use Subscription Manager, right? So you would use those to register and validate you've got your subscription. But this is what we see customers doing that have got existing Red Hat commitments, existing Red Hat subscriptions, and that can be really useful if you've got those subscriptions already, right? Like we said before, there's also the option for raw versus LVM, although we don't put LVM here in the title, and also again pretty much all versions of RHEL are in there that we support there too. But you see it's private, So it's been activated on my Azure account by running the Ansible playbook, and that's how that is available. All right. Cool. I think nothing else to add on that one. Carl, any insights you want to add on that part particularly?
No, James, thanks for bringing us through it. I think it's just interesting to see the different images. And I guess I don't know if we have any guidance for customers on which ones you're doing, because I guess we showed doing the pay-as-you-go one, and now we've showed doing the bring your own subscription one. And I guess I know we did see this kind of running the scripts to set this up initially, but like you said, James, is just to reiterate that this first of all, everything you see us do in the Azure portal can also be done through the command line or through code. So those are other two ways that you can interact with Azure and do the same things you're seeing James do here. But also then, James, when you're deploying these VMs at scale, the fact that then you'll have access to the cloud, the gold images through the Red Hat private offer. And then you may be able to also make custom images, of course, based on this through a few different methods. Yeah.
You bet. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're just using the portal here because it's easy for clicking and talking, right? But again, any customer that we speak to at scale is going to be using those automation tooling, right? And using APIs directly because, that's a more efficient way of going through things.